Welcome or welcome back to my channel. I am Amanda, and today I'm using my Counterfeit Kit Challenge to do the design team Counterfeit Challenge number 2 that's up on the blog. And I'm doing this picture of my youngest playing with slime. And I thought I'd use this Forges on the 4th paper, but I'm not going to. This is also going to be for Mad About Mini paper pads. And so with Mad About Mini paper pads, you can use a 12 by 12 sheet, and then everything else needs to be from something smaller than that. So I'm going to use these 8 by 8 papers that have like this grungy look to them. I thought they were the perfect addition to my kit this month, and yeah, and fun. So the challenge from Christine on the blog this month for the second challenge is to turn up the volume, is what the name of the challenge is. Oh, words. And so what she gave for challenge criteria parameters was that you needed to repeat an element on your layout at least a few times. I think she said 5, and then to build volume. So I'm going to use squares because, I don't know, this was in my head to do it across the page like this. So I'm going to say across the page in a second here. I'm going to move it diagonally, but this is what I was thinking, and this would have been really cute had I not had such a big picture. Then the other parameters for this is to use a large title, and then your picture needs to show excitement or joy or action. So I think Evie with her slime and that look on her face definitely shows some movement and some action and some enjoyment. So I think that works. I cut my squares to 1 inch, 1.5 inches, and 2 inches, and that's how they're growing in size too, to build volume. And then I cut my picture is a 5 by 5, and so now I'm thinking I'm going to do this. And so I did cut those triangle pieces because I thought I'd overlap them underneath, but they just get lost. I'm like, maybe this way. So I'm playing with the design today. I have nothing other than the parameters for using my mini paper pads and the parameters for the design team layout today, but no sketches and no things that are just needing to get done that way today. So I'm just playing. So I did cut these 2 by 2, and these triangles are just cut in half, and I'm just lining up those corners on my track on my cutter. And that makes it super easy. I need one more there because it's going to show. And then I'm going to put the triangles on. And I thought these showed movement in a different direction too. And it's a very geometric design today, but I'm quite happy with how it turns out. It was actually fairly easy to put together. This would be an easy one to scrap lift. And on the other corner, and then I'm just measuring how far in each of those triangles are, just to make it a bit consistent. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I wanted them to look like they kind of line up. So those are on. I'm going to start at the bottom corner here and get the orange ones on. And so I'm doing 6 of the 1 inch squares. Just going to line that center one up because they can be. Then I'm going to do 3 of the 1.5 inch and then 3 of the 2 inch. And that gives a neat building visual. So just making sure it's straight with the other ones. And then most of this I'm eyeballing. I did try and do like a little bit of measuring and that kind of stuff for this side to get it like all straightened up, and this is not gonna work. So I did cut out some of that bit of the process because it didn't work the way I wanted it to anyway. So I did want them to be somewhat straight, and I could have used my glass mat a little bit more and done other things to make sure that it was aligned, but I wasn't that fussed about it. I'm gonna see that this is really off here, and I'm like, what did I do? So I'm gonna put this one on where I think it should be, and then I'm gonna rearrange those bottom ones. But this would have been easier to start with, but that's not how I did it. So I'm just going to lift and put them on, and this works out okay. Easy peasy. This whole layout took me about 40 minutes maybe to do, so it didn't really take me very long. And I just had the idea with the squares in my head, so I'd been thinking about how to do this challenge for the blog all month. So I was like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? So this was some of the thought process I had. There was some empty space there and I wasn't sure what to do with it. So I was thinking about maybe using the four corners on my picture, and the two would have been fine, but they don't line up perfectly with the way my photo is. And I'm like, do I do it here? I'm not liking that. I'm not liking how it's interacting with the squares. So I'm going to stick with the three that I had, and I'm going to mat my photo. So I'm going to mat it with, not that one, with this one, because it has some of that triangle kind of look to it, and not that one, but I have another sheet of this blue and pink. It looks a little purple on screen, but it's actually more blue than purple. And then this one, I'm going to cut down to 6 by 6. And then that one's just a little bit shy. I think that's 5 1/4 to give just both squares. Then I'm going to line up these corners with the triangles. And then that adds a little bit of brightness because of the lighter white and yellow in there. And it does introduce another color, but that's okay. And then I'm off-centering that inside one and then putting that one square for the other one. So, and then the last part of the challenge for Christine's challenge was to use a large title. So I have these dollar store letter stickers that I'm going to rip apart because they're really sticky and not the easiest to get off of here. And then they stick really well to my fingers. But I'm like, how do I want this to go? Do I want this diagonal? I'm like, ooh, diagonal could be fun. Let's do diagonal down here because then I'm not covering up the slime, and the slime is what's given the movement to the page. So I'm like, where do I want this? So I'm going to nestle. I'm going to move this up a little bit just so that I don't cover up any of her, even though it's going to overlap the photo. So this E can get nestled right in with those squares, and then everything else is going to overlap, which is totally cool. And then the M, the which I tore, then the I. I'm going to pull this off and get it lined up just a little bit better. And I'm going to tear my S. And I'm like, oh, now I have a couple tears. Do I lean into this? Do I find a new letter? What do I do? So I'm going to glue this on. I'm going to see the white tear line. I'm going to cut it off. I'm going to go, I need a little bit more letters. So I go get these orange ones. I think these are basic gray, and then some of the letters on this one are capitals and some of them are lowercase. So I was going to use the I from make an I from the H because I didn't want the lowercase one, but then the E and the M are both lowercase, so it didn't really matter that the I would have been lowercase, so I'm going to replace it with the lowercase one. And then, so the title is A Slime Time. And then I decide that I do need to grunge up these letters a little bit. So I'm going to tear all of the letters so that they have a little bit of that line showing. And I like that a little bit more. And it leans into the grunchiness of those papers. And I thought it would be fun. And that is this layout all done. I could actually add a little bit of splatter to it, but I'm probably not now. But if you wanted to go that one more step, that would add another layer of grunge to it and another, like a little bit more texture. But I like how this turns out. There's that title and my center block. Make sure you go take a look at the blog for Counterfeit Kit Challenge, which I'll have below, and see what the other design team members have done. And there is also a list for mini paper pads for all the people that are playing along this month with their paper pads. Thank you so much for being here today. Like, subscribe, and comment. It makes my day and have yourself a wonderful one.